These are not your typical Dollar Tree Valentine's Day DIYs. Think romantic, elegant, and high-end home decor that works all year round. In today's video, I'm sharing 5 brand new Dollar Tree DIYs that look expensive but are completely budget-friendly. These are romantic-inspired luxury-style decor pieces that feel soft, elevated, and designer-inspired without looking seasonal or over the top. We're taking simple Dollar Tree finds and turning them into high-end home decor on a budget using easy techniques, affordable materials, and creative styling. No cheesy Valentine's decor here. Just timeless pieces you can style your home with long after Valentine's Day is over. If you love designer looks for less, cozy, elegant, modern decor, and Dollar Tree DIYs that actually look high-end, you're going to love this one. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new here or haven't done so yet, and also give this video a thumbs up, and let's get straight into the DIYs. For DIY numbers 1 and 2, we're starting with a pair of Dollar Tree finds that instantly caught my eye. And I already knew these were going to turn into something special. I grabbed 2 faceted gem-cut heart-shaped tumblers from Dollar Tree, complete with lids and straws. They came in red and pink, which are classic Valentine's Day colors. But what really sold me was the design. These are not your typical smooth plastic cups. The shape is a 3D heart with a geometric jewel-like structure, and the surface is completely faceted, very similar to a crystal or diamond-cut design. That sculptural detail instantly makes them feel more decorative and high-end, rather than just a novelty cup. As soon as I picked them up, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them. These were never going to stay cups. I started by removing the lids and straws and setting them aside. We don't need those for this project. Then I made sure the cup was completely clean and dry so anything I added would adhere properly. I spray painted them a metallic gold for the base. This doesn't need to be perfect as I will still work over it. You will see as the video progresses. When I'm shopping at Dollar Tree, I always look past what an item is and focus on what it could be. And these heart tumblers had so much potential. The faceted heart shape, the scale, the structure, it all felt very romantic, modern, and sculptural, which fits perfectly into my home decor style. I wanted to transform these into high-end decorative pieces that could be styled well beyond Valentine's Day. Because the shape already does so much of the work, this DIY is really about elevating the finish. The goal was to turn this faceted heart into something that looks like a luxury decorative object, not plastic. Once it was dry, I used painter's tape from Dollar Tree to map out the area I didn't want touched. I made sure the design was different on both, as the idea was to give them slightly different treatment so the 2 pieces still coordinate without being identical. Alright, so I then used my favorite technique. Chalk paint or acrylic paint, baking soda, and that's it. Dollar Tree carries acrylic paint in different colors, as well as baking soda. As for the chalk paint I'll be using for this project, this has been in my stash from Michael's for a while now. So I'll be using what I have at hand. I made 2 mixtures, one white and the other black. You could use any other colors of your choosing. This is just my preference, and this goes very well with my home decor style at the moment. So I used this technique to add more texture over the geometric cuts. It is quick and easy to add texture to almost any objects. You will be seeing a lot more DIYs where I use this method for different outcomes, so stay tuned on this channel, guys. Now, do the first coat, let it dry, and then add more coats until you're satisfied with the coverage. You do not need to be perfect with the first coat, as that is your base. You're practically still priming your surface. Give it about 30 minutes to an hour or more before applying subsequent coats. Alright, so do not worry about the crack around the lid area, as that will be covered up with paint mixture. But if that bothers you, you could also use painter's tape to seal that and then paint over it. But I felt it didn't need that. Just personal preference here. I also chose to keep the straw opening in case I wanted to insert a branch or flower in it and use it as a vase, but you can use painter's tape to seal that as well. Completely optional. I love doing paired DIYs or DIYs in pairs like this one because they look so intentional when tied together. Same shape, same inspiration, but just enough variation to keep it interesting. Once the paint was dry, I peeled off the painter's tape and it was time for some gold leaf magic. I will be using Mod Podge to apply the gold leaf. You could use the gold foil flakes from Dollar Tree or the sheets from Amazon, like I'll be doing. I will have that linked in the description box below. Carefully apply a thin coat of Mod Podge on the mapped out area and then your gold leaf. You want to be careful with this as, like I said in my previous videos, gold leaf could get pretty messy. But when you're using the sheets, it is a little bit more controlled than when you have to use the flakes. So I do highly recommend using the gold leaf sheets as opposed to the flakes. So just make sure you have this properly covered just on the mapped out area and then set aside to dry. I love that the faceted design still shows through, but the finish completely changes the vibe. This is one of my favorite types of DIYs, when the original shape stays the star, but the final result feels totally different. I'll go ahead and do the same for the other one, and then we'll set both of them aside to cure properly overnight. So the next day, once everything was properly dry, I later on brushed off any excess flakes, and then I will go ahead and have this sealed again with Mod Podge. I focused on creating a finish that felt romantic, elevated and high-end, but still neutral enough to work year-round. This is what makes these DIYs perfect to be on Valentine's Day. Yes, they started as red and pink heart tumblers, but once transformed, they became timeless decor pieces you can style in any season. What I love most about these tumblers turned sculptures is the faceted heart shape itself. Because it is geometric and sculptural, it doesn't feel overly cheesy or juvenile. The design leans more modern and artistic, which is why it works so well as decor. It almost feels like something you'd find in a boutique home decor store or a high-end decor shop. This is the perfect example of how structure matters in DIY. When the base item already has strong lines and a great silhouette, you don't need to overdo it. Sometimes the smartest move is letting the shape speak for itself. Once both DIYs were finished and sealed with Mod Podge, styling was the fun part. These pieces look beautiful displayed on a coffee table, console table, shelf or tray. They add that soft romantic touch without screaming Valentine's Day, which is exactly what I wanted. You could style them with neutral decor, books, candles, or even greenery to balance out the heart shape. Together, they create a cohesive high-end moment, and no one will ever guess they started out as plastic tumblers with straws. Let me know what you think of these first two DIYs in the comments, and tell me honestly, would you have guessed that these started as heart-shaped tumblers? For DIY number 3, I started with a plastic heart-shaped tray from Dollar Tree. These come in red and pink, which are perfect for Valentine's Day. But what really stood out to me was the quality of the plastic. This tray is made from thicker, heavier plastic, so it already felt more substantial than your average Dollar Tree item. And that's always a good sign for a DIY. The end result of this project honestly exceeded my expectations. Because the shape was already beautiful, my goal here was to completely transform the finish and make it look like anything else but plastic. To do that, I mixed white chalk paint with baking soda to create a thick textured paint mixture. You can also use white acrylic paint if that's what you have on hand. Both work really well for this technique. Using a paintbrush, I applied the mixture all over the heart tray, making sure to get into all the curves and edges. This texture is what helps cancel out that shiny plastic look and gives it a much more organic ceramic style finish, which is what we are going for. I applied about 3 coats total, letting each coat dry completely before adding the next one. This step is important because it builds depth and gives the tray that solid high-end appearance. And don't worry about it being perfectly smooth. Those little imperfections actually make it look more expensive and handmade. Once the final coat was completely dry, I moved on to my favorite part, the stone texture spray paint. I used Rust-Oleum stone textured spray, and this is what really took the tray to the next level. At this point, you could absolutely stop right here. The tray already looked beautiful, modern, and very high-end. But you know me, I felt like it needed just a little bit more. To elevate the piece, literally, I grabbed 3 wooden beads from a Dollar Tree wooden bead garland. I used Gorilla Glue to attach them to the bottom of the tray, spacing them evenly so it sat nice and leveled. Adding these beads as legs gave the tray height and made it feel much more custom and intentional. Once everything was dry and secure, I sealed the entire piece with Mod Podge to protect the finish and make it more durable. This step helps ensure the tray holds up over time. Very important, especially if you plan on using it regularly. And just like that, the transformation was complete. The final result honestly looks spectacular. This tray no longer reads as Valentine's decor. It's now a timeless, luxury-inspired accent piece. You can use it as a jewelry tray, on a dresser or vanity, a catch-all tray for keys, a coffee table accent styled with beads or candles, a bathroom tray for perfumes or soaps, or even a nightstand dish for everyday essentials. The list is endless. It is functional, decorative, and works beautifully all year round. This DIY is such a great example of how you can take a seasonal Dollar Tree item and turn it into a high-end home decor on a budget with just paint, texture, and a little creativity. Let me know in the comments what you would use this tray for, and tell me honestly, would you have guessed this started as a plastic heart tray from Dollar Tree? Well guys, before we move on, word of the day today is timeless decor. That is because the best part about this DIY is that they're not locked into Valentine's Day. Once February is over, these pieces still work beautifully as everyday high-end home decor. That soft romantic touch just becomes timeless and elegant. DIY number 4 is all about texture, movement, and trusting the creative process. I'm starting with 2 plastic heart-shaped trays from Dollar Tree, the same ones I used in the previous project. These come in red and pink, and I love that they already have weight to them. They don't feel flimsy at all, which makes them perfect for a more elevated DIY. I also picked up a pair of ceramic slabs in a circular shape from Dollar Tree. These also come in square versions, but for this project, I wanted the softness of the circle to balance out the heart shape. To start, I used Gorilla Glue to glue the 2 heart trays together, facing each other, creating a solid sculptural form. This step instantly makes the piece feel more intentional and substantial. I set this aside to cure properly overnight, because when you're building statement decor like this, a strong foundation is key. Once it's fully set, you're left with this chunky hard form that already feels like it could be something special. Now comes one of my favorite parts of any DIY, guys. Creating texture with hot glue. This is where you really get to freestyle and make the piece your own. There's no right or wrong here, just creativity. Let your creative juices flow, guys. I always say that. I used hot glue to add texture directly onto the heart, and I decided to create 2 different patterns, one on each side, just to add interest and variety. For the first side, I created a radiating starburst pattern. I started right at the center of the heart and worked my way outward, letting the glue lines flow naturally towards the edges. This design draws your eye in and gives the piece movement, almost like energy radiating from the center. Once I finished this side, I let it dry completely before flipping it over. On the other side, I wanted something completely different. Instead of covering the entire surface, I added hot glue strips to only about 3/4 of the heart, leaving one section smooth and untouched. I know it might look a little strange at first, but stay with me, you guys, stay with me and trust the process. That contrast between texture and smooth is what gives this piece depth and makes it feel very high-end and artistic. You can do whatever design you want on here. This is just my personal preference, but you can create whatever design you wish. Alright, so I will be done with the sides and I will set it aside to dry properly before moving on. Once all the hot glue texture was fully dry, it was time for the magic. So I went ahead to apply a generous layer of Mod Podge over the entire textured surface, making sure to get into all the grooves and raised areas. Then I laid gold leaf sheets over the surface, gently pressing them into the texture. Make sure you apply enough Mod Podge on here, guys. If you do have the adhesive that comes with the gold leaf, you can actually also use that for this. But I chose to use my Mod Podge because that is what I already have at hand. Alright, now applying the gold leaf was quite easy because the sheets were quite large. But if you're using the flakes, you want to be careful because that can also get pretty messy. Take your time here, no rush. Like I had mentioned, Dollar Tree now carries gold leaf flakes, which is honestly a game changer for DIY home decor. You could use them as well, or you can use the sheets from Amazon, which I will have linked down below in the description box. Alright, so once I was satisfied with the coverage of the gold leaf on the one side, I will go ahead and flip the piece over and repeat the same process on the other side. Be careful how you do this. Make sure your hands are really dry because gold leaf is very sensitive. Alright, so on the other side, basically the same thing. Mod Podge, gold leaf, and a gentle press to really capture all that texture. Alright, so once I had all of this done and set, and once everything dried, I brushed off the excess gold leaf, and this is where the piece really comes to life. What I love most is how the red and pink underneath peek through the gold veins. Look at that, creating this sapphire-like gemstone effect, which I loved really much. It almost looks like a crystal or a raw mineral you'd find in a high-end decor store. The gold leaf catches the light beautifully, and the texture makes it feel incredibly sculptural and expensive. Alright, so once I was done brushing off the extra flakes, to protect all that beautiful work, I sealed the entire piece again with another layer of Mod Podge, as this helps to lock everything in and gives it a durable finish so it can be styled and moved without worrying about the gold leaf being messy. To finish the piece, I used Gorilla Glue to attach the gold heart sculpture onto one of the round ceramic slabs. I glued the heart at a slight angle instead of straight on because that tilt adds movement and makes the piece feel more dynamic and intentional. That is up to you. You could choose to glue it straight up, but I do recommend gluing it this way because it also has more surface to do so. For styling, I kept things simple and elevated. I placed this sculpture on stacked coffee table books, on a console table, and also tried it on floating shelves. It pairs beautifully with neutral decor, ceramics, books, and greenery. This piece still keeps a subtle nod to Valentine's Day because of the heart shape and color, but it absolutely works well beyond the season as modern, artistic home decor. Well guys, let me know in the comments what you think of this one and tell me, do you prefer the starburst side or the asymmetrical textured side? And if you're loving these Dollar Tree DIYs that look expensive, subscribe and keep watching because the next one might just be my favorite. Finally, for DIY number 5, we're taking everything we've used in the last 2 projects and turning it into something fully functional and perfect for entertaining. This is a Dollar Tree DIY serving tray that's festive, practical, and surprisingly sturdy. I'm using a couple of the plastic heart-shaped trays from Dollar Tree, the same ones I used in the previous project. These trays come in red and pink, and again, what I love about them is that they're made from thick, high-quality plastic, not light at all. That's what makes this DIY work so well. Before gluing anything down, I laid out all 6 heart trays out on my surface to figure out the best arrangement. I want to quickly show you that you don't have to make this as big as I am going to do. You can absolutely turn this into a set of 3, which I just showed you, or as a set of 4. I had also picked up this clear saucer from the Dollar Tree, which I'll be using alongside for this project. Okay, so first things first, I was just showing you how you can make this a set of 3 or a set of 4. That is up to you, and you can mix and match the colors as you please. For this project, I will not be using all one colors. I'll be mixing and matching. I'll be mixing the colors rather, both pink and red. I wanted something larger that could work as a statement snack tray, so I decided to go with all 6 of them. I chose to use 3 red and 3 pink trays, alternating the colors for a fun, balanced look. You can totally customize this depending on your style. Keep them all the same color for a more minimal look, or mix them up like I did for a festive Valentine's vibe. Once I was happy with the layout, I made sure all the trays were properly aligned with the heart tips pointing towards the center and at the opposite tray. When everything was lined up just right, I used Gorilla Glue to attach the heart trays side by side, gluing the edges where they touch. This step is important. Take your time here, guys. You want to make sure everything stays symmetrical so the final tray looks clean and intentional. Alright, so I'm just making sure that they are actually all glued right where they touch, because Gorilla Glue, once it's cured, there's no way you're taking this apart. Next, I grabbed a clear glass saucer from Dollar Tree. This is going to act as the center anchor for the entire tray. Wipe it thoroughly, wash and wipe, and then I went ahead to place the saucer right in the middle where all the heart tips meet. And then I will use Gorilla Glue to attach the tips of each heart tray directly onto the saucer, underneath the saucer rather. This not only holds everything together, but also makes the tray feel more solid and structured. Make sure to use a generous amount of Gorilla Glue here. You could also use A6000 glue or any other stronger adhesive of your choosing. Once everything was glued in place, I set the entire piece aside to cure overnight. This step is key, especially since this tray is going to be used for food and entertaining. You want everything fully set and secure before moving it. Because I plan on using this tray as a large snack and serving tray, I chose to leave it unpainted. The clear and tinted plastic actually works really well for food. It's easy to clean, practical, and still looks festive and fun. But if you wanted to turn this into a decorative piece instead, you could absolutely paint it using the techniques from the earlier DIYs. This tray is incredibly versatile. You can use the heart section to serve fruits, berries, nuts, chips, candies, and biscuits, or small desserts. The list is endless. And the center saucer is perfect for dips, sauces, chocolate fondue, yogurt, or even a small candle if you're using it for purely decor. Alright, for styling, I kept it simple and fresh, filled each heart section with different fruits and a creamy dip at the center. You could style this for Valentine's Day, Valentine's gatherings, date night at home, brunch, or even kids' snack time. It is festive without being over the top, and it's something you can actually use again and again. Well guys, this DIY is a perfect example of how Dollar Tree items can be turned into functional, high-impact pieces with just a little planning and creativity. Let me know again in the comments, would you make this a set of 3, a set of 4, or a set of 6 like I just did? Well guys, this final DIY really ties everything together, showing how the same Dollar Tree items can be transformed in completely different ways, from decorative to functional, and still look high-end. Let me know in the comments which DIY was your favorite out of the 5 projects. And if you enjoyed these 5 Dollar Tree DIYs, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button for more budget home decor ideas, Dollar Tree DIYs, and high-end looks for less. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.